buckle up, because today we're heading straight into the heart of New York City politics.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
We're talking about the new police commissioner, and trust me, this isn't your typical appointment. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on this deep dive.
This is definitely a story that's got people talking.
You got that right. The new commissioner is Jessica Tisch, and she's only the second woman to ever hold the position. But here's where things get interesting. She's not a cop.
Her background is certainly unconventional.
She was running the city's sanitation department.
Yeah.
Garbage. Now, before you click away thinking, what does trash have to do with policing? Let me tell you, this is where it gets good. We've got all the details from recent news articles, and we're going to break it all down for you.
It's an interesting choice, to say the least.
So if this is your first time with us, welcome to the Deep Dive. We take the stories everyone's talking about, and we dig deeper, uncovering the details and implications that you might not see anywhere else. While you're listening, go ahead and drop a comment below with your thoughts on this appointment. We'll be checking them out throughout the episode.
There's a lot to unpack here.
Absolutely. Tisch made a real name for herself tackling New York's garbage problem. We're talking mountains of trash and, of course, the infamous rat population. She implemented some pretty big changes, things like adjusting trash collection times and those big lidded bins you see everywhere now.
Initiatives aimed at improving efficiency and public health.
And guess what? Those skills might actually translate to managing the NYPD. Think about it. Logistics, coordinating large teams, enforcing rules, it's not as crazy as it sounds.
There are certainly some parallels.
But hold on, because the story gets even more interesting. Before taking on the sanitation gig, Tisch actually did have some experience within the NYPD. She was the Deputy Commissioner of Information Technology under Mayor de Blasio. So while she's not coming up through the ranks like a traditional police officer, she's not a total stranger to the department.
That's an important detail to consider.
And let's not forget her family background. The Tisch family owns the Lowe's Corporation, a massive conglomerate. That means she comes from a world of business and influence, which could be a huge asset in this role. Or it could raise questions about conflicts of interest. It's definitely something to keep in mind as we go deeper.
It adds another layer to this already complex situation.
Now, the big question is, what does Mayor Adams see in her? This is his fourth police commissioner in his first term. That kind of turnover is unusual, to say the least. What do you make of that?
It suggests a certain level of instability and perhaps a difficulty in finding the right fit for this demanding role. It raises questions about what Mayor Adams is looking for in a police commissioner and whether Tisch can provide the stability and leadership the department needs.
Yeah, it's a high-pressure job, that's for sure. And let's be real, the NYPD has been through a lot lately.
Right.
We can't ignore the fact that the previous commissioner, Edward Caban, resigned amid a federal corruption investigation involving his brother.
Right.
And there were even whispers about the interim commissioner, Tom Donlon, being under investigation as well. So Tisch is stepping into a situation where public trust in the NYPD is already fragile.
The shadow of these scandals will undoubtedly influence public perception of her tenure.
It's a lot to handle.
Yeah.
And we haven't even gotten to the actual challenges of running the NYPD. I mean, this is a massive organization with over 35,000 officers. It's a complex machine, and it's not always easy to get everyone on the same page.
Managing the NYPD requires navigating a web of internal politics, union relations, and community concerns.
Exactly. And let's not forget the rising crime rates in certain parts of the city. People are worried and they want to feel safe. So how does Tisch plan to tackle all of this? Well, in her initial statements, she emphasized public safety as her top priority. She talked about restoring a sense of security to every neighborhood.
A message that likely resonates with many New Yorkers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But how she plans to achieve that remains to be seen. And here's something I found really interesting. After the announcement, there were no press questions allowed. What do you make of that?
It's unusual, to say the least. It could be an attempt to control the narrative to prevent any early missteps or potentially damaging questions.
Yeah, maybe they're just giving her time to settle in before facing the media scrutiny. But it definitely raises eyebrows. What are they not telling us? Are they trying to shield her from tough questions about the previous scandals or her lack of experience as a uniformed officer? It makes you wonder.
Transparency will be crucial for building public trust, especially given the circumstances surrounding this appointment.
You know, you brought up her lack of experience as a cop. Some people are saying that's a major disadvantage. They argue that you need to have walked the beat, worn the uniform, to really understand what it takes to lead the NYPD.
There's certainly a valid point there.
But others are saying that her outsider status could actually be an advantage. What do you think? Can someone who's never been a cop really lead the NYPD effectively?
It's a complex question. Some argue that her fresh perspective, unburdened by traditional NYPD practices, could be a catalyst for positive change.
Right, like maybe she can shake things up, bring in new ideas. After all, she did manage to overhaul the sanitation department, and that was no small feat.
Her success with data-driven initiatives in that role could potentially translate to innovative approaches to crime prevention and resource allocation within the NYPD.
That's an interesting point. She's got a background in technology, right? She was the Deputy Commissioner of Information Technology for the NYPD a few years back. Could that experience be an asset in modernizing the department and making it more efficient?
Her technological expertise could be beneficial, particularly in areas like predictive policing, which uses data analysis to identify crime hotspots and allocate resources accordingly.
Hang on, for those of us who aren't tech wizards, what exactly is predictive policing? Break that down for us.
It's essentially using algorithms and data analysis to anticipate where and when crimes are likely to occur. Imagine a program analyzing past crime data demographics, even things like weather patterns, to create a map of potential crime hotspots. This information can then be used to deploy officers more strategically.
So instead of just reacting to crimes after they happen, they're trying to prevent them in the first place.
Exactly. It's a controversial approach, with some arguing that it can lead to over-policing in certain neighborhoods and reinforce existing biases. However, it's a tool that's becoming increasingly prevalent in law enforcement.
And Tisch's background in technology could mean she's more likely to embrace these kinds of data-driven strategies.
It's certainly a possibility.
Of course, it all depends on how these technologies are implemented and whether they're used ethically and responsibly. And that's a whole other conversation we could have. But for now, let's get back to Tisch.
Right. It's crucial to examine how her background and priorities might influence her leadership of the NYPD.
We've talked about the challenges and the potential opportunities. But what about the reactions to her appointment? What are people saying?
The response has been mixed, as you might expect with any appointment, this high-profile and unconventional.
We know that the Detectives Endowment Association has come out in support of her. They released a statement praising her leadership skills and her commitment to public safety.
Their endorsement could be significant given their influence within the NYPD.
But what about the communities that have historically had tense relationships with the police? We're talking about neighborhoods that have been disproportionately impacted by stop-and-frisk policies, racial profiling, and aggressive policing tactics. What are their concerns?
Their anxieties are understandable, given the NYPD's history. They're likely looking for reassurances that Tisch will prioritize community engagement accountability and a shift away from those problematic practices.
So far, we haven't heard much from Tisch about how she plans to address these issues. And that silence is making some people nervous.
It's too early to draw definitive conclusions, but her actions in the coming weeks and months will be closely scrutinized by these communities.
It was going to be interesting to see how she navigates these complex dynamics. Will she be able to build bridges with communities that have been marginalized and mistreated by the police in the past? Can she balance the need for public safety with the demands for police reform?
These are the critical questions that will define her tenure as police commissioner.
And we'll be here to analyze every step of the way. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future deep dives into the stories that matter. And while you're at it, why not share this video with your friends and family? Let's get the conversation going.
Engaging in thoughtful dialogue is crucial, especially when it comes to such a pivotal issue as the future of policing in our city.
Absolutely. We want to hear from you too. Drop a comment below with your thoughts on Tisch's appointment, the challenges she faces, and what you hope to see from her leadership. We'll be checking out your comments and responding throughout the episode.
This is a story that's far from over, and we're just getting started.
All right, deep divers. Welcome back to part 3. We've been talking about Jessica Tisch, New York City's new police commissioner.
Right. A very interesting appointment.
Yeah, and as we wrap up this deep dive, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
You know, what does this all mean for the future of New York City?
Well, this appointment, it isn't just about one person or one department. It's a reflection of the challenges facing cities across America.
Right, we're talking about public safety, social justice, police reform. These are huge issues.
Absolutely.
And Tisch's appointment puts her right in the spotlight.
Yeah, every move she makes will be analyzed and scrutinized.
And, her successes and failures are going to be seen as a reflection of the city itself.
For sure.
She's got a lot on her shoulders. And the way she handles these issues could have an impact not just in New York,
right,
but across the whole country.
Yeah.
Other cities are going to be watching her closely.
Absolutely. Her approach to community policing, the use of technology, and how she balances the need for security with accountability. All of that could become a model for other police departments.
It's like a test case, in a way.
Yeah, in a way it is.
So what kind of city do we want to live in? I mean,
Sure.
do we want aggressive law enforcement, or do we want a city that focuses on community engagement and building trust between the police and the people they serve?
Those are the big questions New Yorkers need to be asking themselves. And the answers are going to shape not just the NYPD,
Right.
but the whole city.
It's a big moment. We're at a crossroads, and we have to decide what kind of relationship we want between law enforcement and the community.
And Tisch is right at the center of it all.
It's fascinating to watch.
Absolutely.
We'll continue to follow this story and bring you more deep dives along the way.
So make sure you hit that subscribe button
Yes.
and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out.
And while you're at it, why not share this video with your friends?
Get the conversation going.
Let's all talk about this, because these are the conversations that really matter.
Absolutely.
They shape the future
The future of our cities.
and the future of our nation. So thanks for joining us, Deep Divers. We'll see you on the next Deep Dive Veil.